So Zubir, do you have any questions on yesterday's session?
No, sir. No, sir. No.
Good. Then let's start it straight away. So this is our lab URL. Okay, you don't need to install anything. Okay, this is the link. You need to just put it in a browser and hit enter. So it will take you to the lab portal. Okay, let me paste it in the WhatsApp group. Okay, that is the link labondemand.netapp.com. Okay, I'm going to give you the credentials after the first payment. Like Krishna already paid, Krishna, Beulah, and Akila. So I'm going to provide the labs to them. Yeah, please make the payment as soon as possible. Okay, just after that, after entering the URL, just click on agree terms and conditions. So it will take you to the login page. There you need to enter username and password. Okay. So that's it. Then it will let you enter into the portal where you'll be able to see a lot of options. So here, what you need to do, you need to go to the full library. So in full library only, you'll be able to find all the labs. There are a lot of labs actually, not only the ones we are learning. Apart from that, there are so many things. Like I told you, right? We are not covering other stuff. Like for example, Solidifier and all. Okay, object storage, those all labs also available. Like if you are interested, if you want to learn them on your own, you can utilize this lab. Okay, you are feel free to utilize it, but only thing is only one lab per person. Please don't use more than that. Okay, so our first lab is to cluster setup for ONTAP 9.7. This is the lab which we need to use to create a cluster. Today I'm going to show you how to configure a cluster by using the nodes. Okay, NetApp nodes, how to connect to the nodes, and how to create a cluster, how to set up a cluster with nodes. I'm going to show you that. This is the first step. Yeah, this is the lab name which you need to create. Okay, now I just clicked on that lab. So it will take me, it will give me what all I can do in this lab, everything, and it will show you few description. I mean, after that, if you come down here, it will show you the lab map, how the lab is like, what all things you have in lab. This is a jump station. Jump station means that this is a server. From here only, you'll be able to connect to all these things, and you'll be able to practice everything. Here you have one Linux server, mail server, blah blah. So many things are there. One network, private network will be there, and this is a HA pair. HA pair, you know, right? HA pair means nothing but two controllers, unconfigured. Unconfigured means not a cluster not yet created. Okay, and there is a cluster network. I told you, right? We need a switched or switchless cluster network to establish the communication between the nodes. So as we can't do physical connections, they have connected everything for us. Okay, and if you want some assistance from on this lab, you'll be able to find it in the this lab guide as well. Okay, just yeah, click on request lab. So it will take you to another page where you need to provide the description here. Okay, so if they don't see my name there, they'll delete the lab. That's why just use something like Krishna Naveen student, something like that. Okay, and just enter your name, and after that select only self education. Don't select any other options. Okay, select only self education, and here it will give you how long you need this lab. The minimum is 1 day and maximum 7 days. So based upon your, like, if you need this lab for more than 1 day, yeah, create it for 4 days or 7 days. Yeah, it's up to you. I need this lab only for 4 days. Okay, or else let's keep it for 7 days. That's fine. Okay, request lab. That's it. Few labs will create immediately. Few labs will take some time to create. Okay, like it will show you like creating lab, uh, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, like that. It will show you how long it will take to create a lab. But now it is created. That's why it is showing running here, running. Okay, and if you click on connect here, then it will take you to the you will enter into the lab. Okay, just click on connect. It will open another page and it will connect to the jump server. From that jump server, you will be able to do all your practice sessions. Like you'll be able to do everything in the lab. Okay, it will connect you to a Windows server. From there, you can do everything. The only thing is you need a good internet connection to do practice. Okay, I mean I'm doing it from mobile data only right now because I'm at my hometown. That's fine. Okay, now let's talk about how we are going to do how we can connect to. I mean, what are the things we are going to do today in this lab? So before proceeding with the lab, I just want to show you a few things. For example, we can connect to one Windows machine. I mean, we can connect to a different or other Windows machine, Windows server from a Windows server using a tool called RDP. By using a tool called RDP, we can connect from one Windows machine to another Windows machine. Okay. So what you need to do in order to do that, just click on search bar to click type RDP so that it will take you to the tool called remote desktop connection. Just click here, enter the IP address of the server or name of the server. If okay, just click on connect. So it will pop up for username and password. When you enter username and password, it will directly connect to the other Windows system which you want to connect. Okay, this is how you can do generally. The same way now, if you want to connect to if you want to connect to a Linux machine or not Linux actually, a non-Windows. Okay, you can say non-Windows from Windows Server. You need to do it through a different tools, and there are multiple ways to do that, like multiple tools to do that, and multiple protocols as well. So we have a protocols called Telnet. Okay, that is one protocol, and we have another protocol called SSH. Okay, these are the two protocols which will allow you to have a remote connection with non-Windows systems. For example, if you want to connect to Linux server from Windows server, then you can use either Telnet or SSH protocol. So with the help of this protocol, you can log into the Linux server and you can run some commands. Okay, you can do whatever the tasks you want. The same way, our data on tap is also a flavor of a Linux only. Okay, so that is the reason if you want to connect to NetApp, you can either connect through Telnet or SSH. But the default option is SSH. SSH will be configured by default because SSH protocol is more secure when compared to Telnet. Telnet is a very old protocol. In old days, people used to configure Telnet, but nowadays no one is using Telnet. Everything is SSH only. Okay. The full form of SSH is secure shell. Okay, secure shell is the full form of SSH. This is a remote connectivity protocol. You can say that remote connectivity protocol. Okay, so generally, what you can do, just open a command prompt, and by using here also, you can connect to the we have a inbuilt from Windows 10 onwards. We have a inbuilt SSH mechanism added to our command prompt itself on any Windows server. But there are a lot of options. People will get confused, right? So instead of that, what we can do, we have a tool called Putty. Okay, what you can do, just go to Google and type Putty download. That's it. So here you'll be able to download the Putty. See, download. That's it. It will then download the Putty to your laptop. So Putty looks like this. Okay, this is the Putty. Okay, normally what you need to do, you need to enter the IP address or server name here and select SSH or telnet based on your whichever protocol you want to do and open. That's it. After that, it will ask you for username and password. You'll be able to connect to the non-Windows system. So it might be Linux or it might be anything like NetApp or it might be Unix. Yeah, whatever it is. Okay. And apart from Telnet and SSH, we have few more options, RA and R login. We don't require these two options, so forget about them. And we have another option called serial. Serial. So serial is the option which will allow you to connect to a machine through wired connection. That means nothing but I told you, right? Normally on controller, let's assume that this is my controller. Okay, and this controller is a raw controller. I don't have any configurations on this controller. I just bought it from NetApp, and this particular controller don't have any configurations. Then how to do the initial configurations? We need to connect to our controller through wired connection, right? Console port, console or serial port. We need to connect to the console port of the controller, right? One end of the cable to the console port of the controller, the other end to the our laptop or desktop, whatever it is. So once we connect our laptop to the console port of the NetApp, then what it will do, it will use a software port called COM port. Okay, COM port, and it will display you a number. Where you can find that COM port, just open computer management. Okay, just open computer management on the machine which you connected to a NetApp controller. For example, let's assume that I connected to NetApp controller via NetApp controller console port via this laptop. I mean, okay. So when you open System Manager, just expand this system tools. Okay, expand the system tools. Okay, just click on Device Manager. Okay, just click on Device Manager. So here normally it won't visible because I have not connected to the console of the NetApp, right? But if you connect it to the console of the NetApp, somewhere here it will show you like COM port, COM. So when you expand that COM option here, okay, just like this, when you expand it here, it will show you COM 10, COM 11, COM 1, COM 2, something like that. COM and with a number. Okay. So that is the connection number. So what you need to do, you need to enter that number here. Okay, you need to first select the serial option here, and you need to enter the COM number here. And normally the speed also you need to change. The default speed is 9600. This is a communication speed between these two devices. In olden days, 9600 is enough for communication, but nowadays I think it is 115400. I guess I don't remember. I'll get that number for you. Okay, this is the speed you need to set, and when you click on open, our laptop, okay, will connect to the console port of the NetApp through wired connection, and you will be able to access the things. Okay, you'll be able to connect to the controller, and it will allow you to do the initial configuration. Okay. Any questions so far, or do you want me to repeat the explain it again? No problem. If you don't understand, ask me again. I can repeat it for you. Okay, putty is a tool which you need to use to connect to a non-Windows machine. Just like putty, you have so many tools, but most of the people, 99% of the people will like to use putty only. This is the easiest tool. Okay. Any questions, Zubair? Sir, do you have any questions?
No, sir. No.
Amar, is it clear? Krishna, Beulah,
Yeah,
Akila?
yeah, it's clear from here.
Yeah, yeah. If you have to connect to this console or serial port, you need to select this option. Once we configure the IP address and all, you don't need to select serial option again. Just select SSH protocol and enter the IP address. I'll show you that. We are going to do that anyway.
అన్నయ్య
Okay. Yeah.
నెంబర్ అనేది యూజ్ చేస్తున్నాం కదా యాక్చువల్లీ ఆ నెంబర్ ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్ టు మోడ్స్ కామ్ మోడ్స్ ఒకసారి స్పెల్ చేయరా అన్నయ్య అది
Nothing. Let me show you that. If you click on serial, see it is showing COM. It's there
Yes.
only. You don't need to change anything in a COM. Okay. Only thing is you need to change the number which it is showing in the computer management.
ఓకే
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
COM is already here. If you select.
నెంబర్
Hmm?
హౌ కెన్ వీ నో ద నెంబర్ అన్నయ్య
That is what I told you, right? You need to go to computer management. Okay, just open the computer management on the same laptop or desktop, wherever you connected it to the console port, right? And once you open the computer management, just go to disk management again. Oh, sorry, device manager, not disk management, device manager. So here, somewhere it will show you COM. Okay, you need to expand that COM section. Then immediately it will display the number like COM 10, COM 11, something like that. That is the number. Okay. Why it is not showing to me? Because I have not connected this laptop to any console. That is the reason it is not showing. COM is the default port which every operating system will use for serial connections. Okay.
ఓకే
Yeah, COM number you'll get it from here.
ఓకే
Or else you can do a wild guess as well, like try it with by entering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It will establish the connection with one number. Okay, that also you can do. But this is a good way, right? Go to disk management and find the COM number. If you don't remember, that is another way. Okay, you can do. But as this is a lab, okay, this is a lab, right? This is a virtual lab. You cannot connect to the cable connections and all, right? Right? You cannot connect your laptop or desktop to the console port of the NetApp because you are not at the data center location physically. That is the reason in the lab for your convenience, convenience, what they have done, they have saved the console connections here. See, this is a node 1 console connection and this is a node 2 console connection. So just double click here. So it will connect to the console of the node 1. And if you double click here, it will take you to the console of the node 2. Okay, got it? But in real time, that is not the case. Okay, right? You need to select serial. You need to do a cabling between your laptop and NetApp console port, and you need to find out the COM number, enter the COM number, and click on open. And you need to change the speed as well. It must be. If you don't enter a appropriate speed, then what it will do? The communication will be not efficient. That means still you can have a connection between your NetApp controller and your laptop, but the problem will be it is not efficient. Like it will show you in a different language, symbols. It will show you in Chinese language or something like that. So that is the reason you need to have you need to enter a specific speed as well, which will establish the effective communication. I think, yeah, I remember it is 115400 only, I guess. You can Google it also. You'll get it. Okay. Yeah. But as this is a lab, they have already saved the console connection. So I'm utilizing them. Okay. Guys, don't hesitate to ask any question. Okay. No question is silly. Ask me. Okay. Not a problem. Okay. Now I'm just double clicking here. So it will open a console connection. See, now I connected to the console of the NetApp. When you connect to the console of a NetApp, it will show you a blank page only. What you need to do, you need to hit enter. Then only it will enter into the console session properly. Okay, just hit enter. That's it. See, now I'm getting something. So what it is stating, like, welcome to the cluster wizard, blah 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 blah. It is showing all these things, right? You don't need to read all those stuff. Okay. Now it is asking, type yes to confirm and continue. So do you want to proceed with the configuration setup? Then hit yes. No, you don't want to proceed with the configuration. You just entered into the console accidentally. Then hit no. If you hit no, it will exit from the console session. If you hit yes, then it will proceed with the cluster setup. Okay. So, and one more thing, guys, this cluster setup is a wizard kind of thing. That means it will ask you, it is a designed in a step-by-step procedure. You don't need to do anything. It once you finish the first step, it will go to the second step, and you need to enter the details in the second step and hit enter. It will go to the third step. That is what we'll call it as a wizard. Okay, wizarding configuration. Now I'm just hitting enter. So my first step is completed. Then it will go to second step. See, now it is asking me enter the node management interface port. Okay, which port you want to use for your node management. You, did you remember when we discussed about the controller architecture? I told you, right? Every controller will be having three important ports. One is a console port, another one is management port, and the other one is service processor. So here, which one is the management port? E0M, right? Normally in real time, E0M is the management port. Okay, E0M is designed for management. That is the reason they mentioned M, E0M. M means management. But here in this lab, we don't have E0M. That is the reason. Let's use E0C instead of E0M. But in real time, use E0M only. Okay, E0C. I want to use E0C as my node management port. Now I connected to the controller one, right? So for the controller one, I'm planning to use E0C as my management port. That's it. Hit enter. Enter the port name and hit enter. And one more thing, guys. Yeah. All NIC ports will start like this: E0A, okay, E0B, E1C, like this, E1A, something like this. They'll start with E. E means Ethernet port. Ethernet. E means Ethernet. Whereas fiber channel adapters, they'll start like this: 0A, 0B, 1A, 1D, something like this. Okay, they'll be not having E. Okay, so when there is a E in the port, that means this is a normal network port. Okay, you can blindly say that. Okay, so I'm entering E0C here. I want to use E0C as my controller management port. That's it. Hit enter. Now it is asking me to enter the IP address. So what is the IP address you want to configure to your controller node management port? So whenever you want to configure a cluster, okay, you need to, okay, gather all these details. You need to gather all these details before proceeding with the cluster setup, like IP addresses and all. You need to get them from your network team. Okay, your organization will be having network team, right, who will manage the network, LAN network and all. Okay, you need to get the IP addresses from them. You need to talk to them and tell them, okay, I am configuring a cluster setup, so I need free IPs. So they'll give you few IPs. Okay, you need to use them. But in this lab, we don't have a network team, right? Then how to get the IPs? Okay, so for that, just click on the lab guide here. So this is the lab guide. Normally, I know which IP I need to enter there because I'm very much familiar with this lab, right? So if you don't remember, just go to the lab guide, and from here it will give you all the IPs. Let me walk you through the lab guide as well, so it will be easy for you. Let it load. So yeah, this is the lab guide. See, it will show you everything, where what to do, everything it will show you, even step by step. So here, see, even it is guiding you. So click on yes, enter this port. This is the IP address 192.168.0.111. Okay, this is the IP address which you need to enter, 192.168.0.111. But in real time, you need to get this IP address from network team. Now it is asking for net mask. Don't worry, guys. These IP addresses and net mask, these details. Okay, we have a separate session for networking, a dedicated session. There, I'm going to discuss everything about these IP addresses, net mask, what is net mask, and all. So for now, you don't need to know all these things. Just ignore it. These are the things which will be managed by network team. You need to get these details and use them here. That's it. Okay. You can either enter the net mask length or full net mask. I'll prefer to use a full net mask, 255.255.255.0. Okay, that is the full net mask. Full net mask. But in the lab guide, they have used net mask length. That's why they mentioned 24. Okay, anything is fine. Now it is asking for the gateway. Gateway means nothing but the first IP address in the network. That's it. Even everything, all these details you will get it from network team only. So what is the gateway? 192.168.0.1. Okay, 192.168.0.1. That's it. Once you hit the enter, that's it, done. Now what it is saying is, uh, as you have configured the node management IP, you don't need to connect to the console anymore. If you want, you can connect to controller with the help of node management IP. That is what it is saying. Either if you want to do it through, you can connect to the via web browser by using this link, or you by entering the IP address in putty, you can connect to the controller remotely. But that's okay. Anyway, I started the initial configuration through console, right? Let me finish everything through the console only. Okay, generally I'll prefer in that way. Okay, so I want to proceed, hit enter. Now it is asking me, do you want to create a new cluster or join an existing cluster? Now you connected to a controller, right? So with this controller, do you want to create a new cluster, or do you want to join this particular node to any existing cluster? So it is giving us two options, create or join. No, I don't want to join because I don't have any clusters, right? I want to create a new one. So I just entered create here. Okay, hit enter. Now it is asking me another question. Do you intend for this node to be used as a single node cluster? Okay. Now you are creating a cluster with one node. So is this a standalone cluster? I mean, single node cluster, or do you want to add nodes later? So here, based upon your decision, it will do the configuration. If you say yes, then it won't allow you to add other nodes to the cluster later. If you say no, then what it will do, it will create a cluster with a single node for now, but later you can add more nodes to it. So whenever you are configuring a cluster, if it is not a single node cluster, then say no only. Mostly nobody is using single node cluster these days. So obviously, mostly it will be no only. Okay, I just typed no here. Yeah, I just typed no here. Now, now Now I told you, right? There are on top of every controller, there are two 10 GB or 40 GB or 100 GB pre-configured ports will be there, and they'll get the IP address automatically. I told you, right? 169.254. In this range, they'll get the IP address. I told you. So see, I have not done anything. Automatically, they are getting these IPs during the cluster setup. So with the help of these two ports only, what are those two ports? E0A and E0B. So with the help of these two ports only, my controller one will be able to communicate with the other controllers in my cluster. So connecting the clusters by cables and all, we have to do it. If it is a two node cluster, you can connect them directly, one controller to another controller directly. If it is a more than two node cluster, then you need to use switches. You know all those things, right? We have already discussed about them. So what it is asking is, do you want to use the same IPs which is provided by the system, or do you want to change them? Actually, there is no need to change the IPs, right? Whatever the IPs assigned by uh, cluster, use them. But if you have any specific reason, like I don't like these IPs, I want to put them in order. Like for example, here, see, 255.70, 249.78. No, I don't want to. I don't like in this way. I want to use like 245.70, 245.71, like that. Then you can give it manually also. But I don't prefer to do that. I'll use the whatever the IPs provided by the system. Actually, anyway, we don't use these IPs anyway. Okay. So I'm proceeding with the same IPs only, whatever the generated by cluster, my on tap.
Sir, excuse me,
Now,
sir.
yeah.
Yeah, this is an example for the systems which we are connecting to Linux, right?
No, sir. So this is a cluster actually. See, what I'm
Okay.
doing is, let me tell you.
No, because you said like you are connecting through putty actually.
Yeah, Putty, NetApp also I mentioned, right? I have connected to the NetApp now.
Okay.
NetApp controller. See, I have two controllers here. Okay. This is one controller. This is another controller. Okay. As these are brand new controllers, I don't have anything configured here. So I have
Okay.
connected to controller one now through console connection. And after connecting to the console of this controller, I'm doing the setup now. I'm configuring this controller now.
Okay. Okay.
I'm creating a cluster with this controller. Later, what I'll do, I'll connect to my second node console, and I'll add the second nodes to the cluster. Okay, that is what I'm doing. Is it clear or still confused?
Or anyhow, but to configure the console too, you need to use this putty, right?
Yeah. In order to connect to the console, you need to use Putty. Yeah, Putty
Okay.
or any other tool, but I'll prefer Putty.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Now the next step is, it is asking me to enter the username. Generally, as I told you, the brand new controllers will be they don't have any configurations, right? Okay. And in cluster mode, the default username is admin. Okay, admin is the default username. Admin is the default username. So what it is asking here, it is asking you to set up a password for the admin user. Okay, so with the help of admin user only, you'll be able to log into the cluster and you'll be able to do your daily work. Okay, so what it is doing, so your admin user has don't have any password, please set up a password. That is what it is saying. Okay, I'm entering some password. It will be not visible to you. Okay, don't worry. It is asking me to repeat it again. That's it. Now I have configured the password. I have a password for admin user. Now it is asking me to enter the name for your cluster. Okay, now you are creating a cluster, just provide a name to your cluster. So I'm entering it as just cluster one. Okay, let me put everything in small only. Yeah, see, cluster one is my name. But if you want to use a different name, you can use it. Generally, this cluster name and all, we will set it um, according to our organization's naming convention. Okay, every organization will follow their own naming standards. For example, let's assume if I own a company, what I'll do, I'll set some standards there. Okay, you need to configure every device like this only. First three letters should be the location of the device. Second three letters should be the vendor of the device. Next three letters should be the uh, model of the device, something like that. Then what I'll do, I'm just yeah, for example, if it is in Hyderabad location, then I'll put it in like Hyderabad NetApp. So Hyderabad Net, and uh, technology, like for example model, for example if it is a FAS, then I'll put FAS, or if it is a AFF, then what I'll do, I'll put AFF, something like that. Okay, and next one will be the number or something, 01. If it is a second cluster, 02. If it is a third cluster, 03, something like that. Normally companies will do like that. Okay, but as this is a lab, you can put whatever name you want. I just want to put cluster one. Okay, that's it. Now what it is doing, it is creating a cluster called cluster one. Okay, okay. Now it is asking me to enter the license keys. License keys means nothing but, I told you, right? Normally we have protocols like CIFS for Windows, NAS, NFS for Linux, Unix, NAS, FCP, iSCSI for SAN protocol. All these are protocols, right? So for each and everything, we need a license. Okay, few licenses we'll get it from NetApp during the purchase itself. And if you want any additional features, you need to pay extra money to get those licenses. Everything is license based here on NetApp. Okay, so while creating the cluster itself, you need to install those licenses, or even after cluster creation also you can install the licenses. It is not a problem. You can do it without any downtime. You don't need to reboot, or you don't need to do anything. Pretty simple command. I'll show you what I am going to do. I'm going to add few licenses now. Okay, I'll show you how to add the licenses after cluster creation as well. Okay, let me minimize it. So see, you have a notepad here which has all the licenses on the desktop of a jump host. Okay, okay, why it is too slow? Just a second, guys. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, Naveen. Yeah, I can.
Are you able to see my screen as well? Yeah, I lost
Yeah,
net connection.
yeah, I'm
Oh,
able.
oh, okay, got it back. close these things. Mobile data, right? So little stuff. Just a second, na. Someone is using my hotspot. Okay. So what you need to do, just go to desktop. There you'll be able to find text document with all the licenses. Come on. Okay. So this is how the license case looks like. Okay. Just eliminate comma, don't use comma. And it is not possible to apply multiple licenses at a time. You need to do it one by one. Okay. See, now I have entered the license key and hit when I hit on enter, it is showing. See, NFS license was added. Okay, like that. See, CIFS license added. ISCSI. Okay, like that. Now, once you added all the licenses, I'm not going to add all the licenses now. Okay, I just added few licenses and just keep it empty and hit enter so that it will exit from the license wizard. See, now it is exited from the licensing. Now it is asking me for the cluster management interface and all. Okay, you need a little bit of explanation here. So right now what I'm doing, I have two controllers, right? This is my controller one. Okay, this is my controller two. And what I'm doing here, I'm creating a cluster by combining these two controllers. Okay, this is a my fast01. Let's assume that this is my controller name. This is my, let's assume that my fast02. Now what I'm doing, I'm combining these two nodes and I'm planning to create a cluster called cluster one. Okay, right now just I have connected to only node one only, but uh, very soon I'm going to add node 2 as well to the cluster. So as part of the configuration, what I have done, I have selected my E0M, sorry, E0C actually in the lab, but in real time it is E0M. Let's assume, let's talk about real time only. E0M on node 1 as my node management port, and I have configured some IP address, right? Like 192.168.0.111. Okay. So this is my node management port and node management IP. That means with the help of this IP, I can establish communication to only this particular node. But cluster means I have to connect it to the all the things in the cluster, right? That means I need a single connection from where I can manage both the nodes in the cluster, right? That is what we'll call it as a cluster management port or cluster management IP. So what you need to do, you need to select one more port as a cluster management port. This is not a node management. Node management belongs to only this particular node, but cluster management belongs to entire cluster. Okay, did you got it? So what I'm going to do, again, I can use the same port only as a cluster management. Okay, I can use the same port only as a cluster management. So already I have used the same port as node management port. Node management port. Now I'm using the same port as a cluster management port. Okay, and I'll configure the one more IP address as a cluster management IP. This is the IP which we are going to use. I remember. Okay, that's it. Later, for example, whenever you're adding the second controller, again you will configure the node management on top of this controller as well. Node manage, you'll select the E0M as node management port, and you'll assign another node management IP 112 as a node management IP for this particular controller. But for the second controller, you don't need to again configure the cluster management because you already selected the cluster management port and cluster management IP whenever you are adding the node to the first node to the cluster. So every node in a cluster will be having its own node management port, node management IP. But all the nodes in a cluster will be having only single cluster management port and cluster management IP. Okay, so this is the one which we will use to connect to our cluster remotely. By using cluster management IP only, we will connect to our cluster and will do our daily day-to-day works. Okay, even with the help of node management IP also, you can connect to the cluster and you can manage the things. But why I need a cluster management then? For example, if you connect it to cluster via this node management IP, for example, unexpectedly this node went down. In that case, with this IP, you will be not able to connect to the cluster. So that's a problem, right? But if you used cluster management IP, okay, if this node went down, no problem. This cluster management IP will be moved to the other node management port and will function from there. No issues. Okay, so you will not lose the connection. Even if you lose the connection, again it will reestablish. You can connect to the cluster and you can see what happened. Okay, that is the reason we will be having node management port and node management IP for individual nodes, and we have one cluster management port and cluster management IP for all entire cluster. Okay, did you got it, or any confusion, or do you want me to repeat it one more time? But as I'm creating a cluster now and I have added only one node, I'm selecting the same port as a cluster management port and node management port. But if you want to use a different port, for example, I have another port called E0A or E0B or E0C. I don't want to use E0M only. I want to use a different port. Yeah, you can do that. But why you are wasting a different port? You might need it maybe later for NAS connectivity, right? So mostly NetApp will recommend you to use E0M only for management purpose. Either if it is a cluster management or node management, it's better to use E0M only. Okay. Zubair, sir, did you got it? Or do you want me to repeat it one more time?
Yes, sir. Yes, I have. I'll
Do
just
you
go
want me
through.
to?
No, no. The thing is, actually, I need to recollect this actually. So I need to one class. I
Okay.
think so. I'll just go through the video. What all
Okay.
present.
Okay. Okay. So what I'm doing, see here also it is suggesting me to use a different port, but that's fine. If you want, you can use a different port for cluster management, or you can use the same port for node management as well as cluster management. I don't want to waste another port. I want to use the same port only. Okay, E0C here, but in real time it is E0M. Now it is asking for the IP address and all. IP address and all, you'll get it from again lab guide. Okay, but I know the things, right? So I'm configuring it 22.168.0.101. Okay, that is the IP address. Next, subnet mask 255.255.255.0. Gateway 192.168.0.1. That's it. Now it is asking me for the DNS domain name. Oh, okay, every organization will have a DNS domain name. Like for example, if you are working in Wipro, then wipro.com or something like that. If you are working in IBM, IBM.com, something like that. In IBM, every region will have a separate domain like in.ibm.com. In India, it will be like this for all India employees, in.ibm.com. In means India. For US employees, like us.ibm.com. Because this is a very big organization, right? Yeah, like that. This is all domain. So you need to get the domain information as well before doing the cluster setup. From where you can get it? Normal IP address and all you'll get it from network team, but domain information you'll get it from Windows team or Active Directory team. We'll talk about these things in detail in later classes. Okay, don't worry. Active Directory, what is Active Directory and all. Okay, you most of the people, I mean, Windows team only will maintain Active Directory as well, but in few organizations, they have a separate team for Active Directory. Okay, you need to get the details from them. But when it comes to lab, that is demo.netapp.com. That is the Active Directory domain name. Okay, demo.netapp.com. You need to use this only in the lab. Okay, it entered. Now it is asking me for the domain name server IP. Name server IP means nothing but where on top of which server this domain is installed on. This DNS domain is installed on. So again, you need to get this IP from either Windows team or Active Directory. But I know that 192.168.0.253. You'll be able to see all these details in the lab guide again. Hit enter. That's it. So now it is asking me where this controller is located in. It is located in Hyderabad. Something like that. You can put whatever location you want. That's it. I'm done with the cluster setup. I mean, I have created a cluster with a single node. Now what I need to do, I need to add the other node, right? I have another node, second node, which I need to add to the cluster, right? Yeah. So there are so many ways to do that. Actually, if you want, what you can do, you can connect to the other node console. Let me connect to the second node console. Let's open putty again. Now let me connect to the second node console. You can do in this way, or what you can do, you can enter the username and password. I told you, right? What is the default username to enter into the cluster? Admin. What is the password? You only configure the password while during the cluster setup. Just put whatever password you want when you are configuring the cluster. Okay, now I entered into the cluster. From here, what it is saying, just run this command so that it will be able to discover the other nodes as well. That is what it's saying. Let's run this command. Show discovered. Let's see if it can able to discover the second node. How it will discover? Because we have already connected the second node also to first node, right? With the help of cables, right? Yeah. No, it was not able to discover the other node. Okay, so let's leave it. That's okay. Let's proceed with this traditional setup only. Now what I have done, I have connected to the console port of my second controller. So it is empty. Let's hit enter. Say again, same thing. Do you want to proceed with the configuration? Then type yes. Yeah, I'm typing yes. Now it is asking me again, what is your node management port? E0C here in the lab. What is the IP address? 192.168.0.112. Okay, first node I've used a 111. Now I'm using 112. 255.255.255.0 192.168.0.1. Yeah, I want to proceed in this way only. Hit enter. Now it is asking me the same question. Do you want to create a new cluster or do you want to add this node to your existing cluster? I have already created a cluster, right? So I want to add this node to the existing cluster, which I have already created. So I am just entering join option here. I'm selecting the join option here. Okay. Again, as I told you, it will assign the IPs on its own as they are pre-configured. Yeah, I just want to use the same IPs which are defined by the system. So yes. Now what it is asking me is enter the IP address of an interface on the private cluster network from the cluster you want to join. Okay, you want to join this node to one of the cluster, right? So from that cluster, just enter the IP address of the cluster. So whenever you are configuring the node 1 cluster, uh, yeah, when you are configuring the cluster from node 1, it got the IPs, right? So what you need to do whenever you're configuring this cluster, just note down these IPs somewhere, or even we can get these IPs from the command line itself. But as you are not yet familiar with the commands, right? So it's better to note these IPs. Okay, whatever you got on node 1. So you can use the same IPs, or what you can do run a command called network interface show. I'll show you this command little later. Yeah, from here also you'll get those IPs. See the same IP, right? 7078. Yeah, what you need to do, you need to enter one of these IPs here. So with the help of IP address, it will be able to discover the cluster and it will join our second node to the same cluster. Okay, did you got it? That's it. Hit enter. See now joining the cluster. It is joining our second node also to the same cluster, cluster 1. Yeah, with the help of that IP address, it is finding the cluster. Generally in real time, I think you don't need to enter all these IPs and all. It will be able to discover on its own automatically because the connections are already there, right? The cluster connections, 210 GB or 410 GB or 240 GB 100 GB connections. Yeah, with the help of them it will be able to discover the cluster on its own. But yeah, let's see where it is asking. That's it. The remaining additional steps are not required here because all of them already we have entered all the information like licensing and all. We did it when we are configuring the cluster, right? Now I'm just adding the second node to the cluster. That's it. Now just enter admin and enter the password. That's it. See, I'm into the cluster. So what you need to do, you don't need to uh, connect to the controller console anymore because we have configured the cluster management IP and node management IPs, right? What you can do, either you can enter the cluster management IP or node management IP and you can connect to the cluster. See, it yes. Now it is asking for the username, which is admin, password. That's it. See, I'm inside my cluster now. If I run simple command called cluster show, see it is showing me both the nodes. See, this is my node 1 and this is my node 2. Their health status, it should be true, health and eligibility. Health means is there any issues on top of that particular node or not, it will show you. If anything is false, then you need to take a look at it, like why it is false. There is something wrong with the node health. Eligibility means are they eligible to be part of this cluster, like that. It should, these things should be always true. Okay, that's it guys. Like just go through the video and create a lab on your own and practice the things. If you have any questions, then reach me so that like I can help you. Or if you want me to repeat the same class like cluster setup again tomorrow also, I can do that for you. I can create another lab and I can show it to you. You can create as many labs as you want, but like cancel your existing lab and create a new one. Like if you want to delete some lab, just click on cancel so that it will delete this lab. Okay, or else it will delete after this time. Like I have still 6 days 23 hours. Yeah, any questions? Amar, Zubair, Krishna, Beulah, Akil?
Like Navin, like when we hit the network interface show, we have like two IPs right there.
Yes. I mean,
Yeah,
that is what
we can use
don't
either of
worry about
the.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
you
okay,
can use any of those IPs. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, sure, sure. Normally, like this configuration and everything, we will take help of the team, like those team or like that, right?
Which
NetApp
team?
team or like that.
No,
NetApp
no,
team.
no. I mean, that
Oh,
is again based on your support actually.
okay,
If you
okay.
are having a gold support, a platinum support, then they'll do it for you, or else you need to do it on your own. And if you see
Anyway,
here, network interface show command will display only the IPs. Yeah,
uh-huh.
sorry, you're saying.
Yeah, yeah. Not like that. Anyway, like it is good to know like the configuration setup as well. That is like good from your end as well to show you everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Actually, you need to pay extra for this if you want NetApp to do this, or you have to be a platinum
gold.
partner to NetApp. Yeah,
Okay, okay,
mostly gold also. I think they don't do platinum partner.
okay, okay.
Part time. Yeah. See here. Yeah, these are the two cluster ports and IPs
Yeah,
of Node 1 and two cluster IPs and ports of Node 2. With the help of these IPs and these ports only, the two controllers will be able to communicate with each other. And remaining whatever we are seeing here, these all will be configured like node management IPs, port cluster management IP, node management port and all. Okay, don't worry about this command. We'll talk about this command also little later. I don't want to do I don't want to confuse you people now. Yeah. Okay. If you don't have any questions, yeah, then let's stop the session for today. We'll again connect tomorrow. Zubir,
sure,
just
Navin.
go through the video, Andy. Okay. If you have any questions, yeah, let's discuss.
Okay, yes.